Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleanor and today I'm doing the rereading tag. I was tagged by Abby over at Autumn of Pelennor. I'll leave her video linked below. And I'll also leave the original creator of this tag in the description. I wasn't tagged in Abby's video, but we chatted about it in the comments and she told me I had to film it. So here I am. So the first question is, let's assume you do reread if you're doing this tag, so where do you sit on the rereading scale, from almost never to all the time? I would say I reread books all the time. It's my favourite thing. Like, the reason I keep books and I want to physically own them is so that at any moment, whenever I feel the urge, I can pick up and reread an old story again. Yeah, so all the time. Question number 2 is, has that changed over your life? Yes and no. I would say I did used to reread books a lot more when I was younger, just because I didn't have access to be able to buy all the books in the sun I can now as an adult with a salary. I was more restricted, and I feel like when you're younger you're a little bit more hyper-focused and obsessed. Like, there's a few series that I read when I was younger and I read them a lot. I used to be able to recite passages from the books because I was so obsessed with them. So it definitely has kind of petered out a little bit since then, but I do reread books still quite a lot. Question number 3. When do you reread? Maybe immediately after finishing a book, or not till years later, or when the mood strikes. For me, it's completely when the mood strikes. I don't think I've ever reread a book immediately after finishing it. But I've also reread books like less than a year after, or a year after, or 5 or 6 years after. Like, I'm currently involved in a buddy read with Faye and Kayla. I'll leave their channels linked below, and we're reading the Ink World trilogy by Cornelia Funk. Both Faye and I have read this series before multiple times, but for us it's the first time we're rereading the series in about 10 years. And I read the series many times when I was younger, but I haven't since. But I'm now rereading the series. But there's other books I've read that I've reread consistently for every couple of years, so it just depends on the book. Question number 5. How do you reread? Faster, slower, or just the best bits? I don't think I've ever just gone back and read just the best bits. If I reread a book, I read the whole thing from start to finish, and I don't skip sections. I do read faster though, because I am familiar with the story and I'm usually more eager in anticipation for certain sections. So I do read faster, and because I have read the story before, I'm familiar with it, I don't have to pay as much attention, so I just generally do read them quicker than I do a first time book. But that's more subconscious. It's not like a deliberate skim reading thing. I'm just more aware that I do read them quicker if I've read them before. Question number 6. Who or what do you reread? More specifically, which authors or genres or individual books? I've got a couple of individual examples. So a series I used to reread constantly when I was younger was The Books of Pelennor by Alison Croogon. This will make Abby very happy. This is the book series our channel is named after. She's currently rereading it right now. These are like my original editions, and the spines are like bent pretty badly. My edition's not as tattered as Abby's is. I don't think I reread it quite as many times as Abby, but I do love this quartet, and I reread it many a time. I'm planning on rereading the series next year because there's a prequel book that I haven't read, which I'm ashamed to admit, but so I'm going to reread this beginning of 2021. So yeah, so this is one of the books series that I used to reread constantly. And also, I just chucked that on the floor. And another series I reread a lot is the Harper Connolly Quartet by Charlene Harris. I reread the first book in this series, Gravesight, like last week. Reread the first book, so probably continue on my reread. I think I have a video where I reread that series at the start of 2020, so I'll leave that video linked in the description if you're interested in reading that. It's such a fun, quick series, and I do wish there was more books in this series. I love the characters and I just love the story, so I reread it quite a lot. I could go on all... I don't know what's wrong with me, I just chucked all 4 of those books on the floor as well. My brain. It's a glass table that's next to me, so I've obviously not depth perception is off. I could go on all day listing all the books I've reread, but I just picked those two series specifically because one's a young adult fantasy and the other is adult paranormal mystery. Yeah. Question number 6, is there a book that you found that was better when you reread it? And I'm just going to have to go with The Lord of the Rings. I read this for the first time when I was quite young. I think I did watch the films first, just because of the age in it is quite dense. And I did enjoy the series the first time I read them. But they're really long, it's very wordy. Tolkien's got a very, very unique writing style. And I was so focused on the reading aspect of it, I didn't absorb fully everything that I was reading. I still loved it, but when I was a bit older and I reread the series, it was much more impactful because I was older, I had better understanding, I was more of a reader, and it was just a better experience. I'm not going to chuck that on the floor. I found the edge of the table. And question number 8, and was there a book that was worse when you reread it? Yes. That was The Last Vampire by Christopher Pike. I have a series on this channel where I'm rereading my teen vampire obsession books. I haven't finished it. I kind of took a bit of a break because I was reading the books in one sitting and it just takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I was a bit burned out from reading young adult vampire books. So I've got a few more videos in that series that I'm going to do in 2021 so I can finish that series off. But one of the rereads was this book. I'll leave that video linked in the description. I think I talk more favourably in the video than how I actually feel, I think, in reflection. This series isn't that great. It's very ridiculous. Vampire story. I think there's like aliens in it, there's time travel, there's rewriting history. It's a 5,000 year old vampire who just falls in love with everyone and she's perfect, and I liked it when I was younger. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it now. It's pretty rubbish. But yeah, that was definitely worse when I reread it. And the last question is, which one book have you reread the most times? So I've already talked about The Gift, and I'll also mention the His Dark Materials trilogy by Philip Pullman. Yeah, I reread this quite a few times. I've also listened to the audiobooks a few times. Really love this trilogy. I'm hit or miss with the continuation companion books of this world, but the original trilogy is still a series I've reread quite a lot. So yeah, that was just a quick video for this reread tag. Thanks to Abby for telling me I should film it. I'm going to tag Faye at Books and Chocoholic and Connor at Connor Stampanado to do this tag. I don't believe either of them have done this before, but as always, if you're interested in this tag, just film it anyway. Let me know if you've done this tag yourself. I'd love to hear your answers. And yeah, as always, leave a comment, like and subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.